My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Good evening. Welcome to Cyber Chill. I don't know, or did that sound like I don't know.
Vincent Price?
Vincent, yeah, or Bella, or whoever. Yeah, sounded.
Yes. Yeah, it was there. I picked up what you were putting down.
Okay. Mr. Adams? I don't know. Like really into scary stuff. Hey, this is Cyber Chill.
Hey. What's up?
Oh, you know me.
Hey, you know what was pretty unchill today?
What?
So, Talcum X.
Talcum.
Martin Luther Cream.
Yeah.
Sean King. Yeah.
Smoking the doob or whatever.
Yeah, his new profile pic, him smoking the doob. It's like, it's like I said, hello, fellow black people.
Mm-hmm. Hello, my fellow black people.
Yeah. It was just so cringe.
It was pretty lame.
47 years old.
If you need to prove that you smoke weed, smoking weed's not making you any cooler.
Right. Hey, you cool, man? Like how?
Yeah.
Okay.
I posted a picture of me smoking weed to Twitter so y'all would know that I smoke weed.
That's it. You know what? It was the most Kamala Harris thing.
I know. It's not having its desired effect on you, buddy. It's not making you any cooler.
Yeah, they posted the meme in chat of something that I said to Veneman's wife on Twitter a while back. He looks like he drops common loot.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Calicomex drops common loot. Thank you, chat. Hey, chat. What's up?
Yeah. Something really not chill happened over the weekend. For the
lots of not chill things.
I know. For the disinformation section of the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do that one.
Yeah. So, and Ruby just showed up, wanting to talk.
Hey, Ruby.
Yeah. So, she just showed up wanting to talk. I wore this dog out this afternoon. I have no idea what's wrong with her. Look, it's not even getting cool here. It's still hot. So, I don't know what's wrong with this dog. Anyway. So, so over the weekend, Trump had a rally. He was in Iowa. And MSNBC interviews one woman, one chick, who sells Trump t-shirts at the Trump rally. And she said, I feel a civil war coming. Well, I mean, who the fuck doesn't? For real.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, the left is feeling it so strongly that when they heard her say this, they all flipped out, starting with Malcolm Nance on MSNBC. So it turned into a whole thing by Monday morning. There's we're halfway to civil war by Monday morning because one woman in Iowa said she could feel it. A lot of people can feel it. Every single day somebody tells me, in one way or another, this feels like it's not, I don't like it. It doesn't feel right. It feels like every day. So she said it to MSNBC and they turned it into, well, it was a Twitter fight. How many tweets did you see just from the left? Yeah.
A lot. They're feeling pretty froggy too. Which, because they think they have the military and the police on their side, and to an extent that they may. But the thing is that not the retired, the retired ones.
But we've done this before, right? We've done this before. We know how it works. They split and go their separate ways, and there's no way to know who's going to go where, right? Mm-hmm. And if Georgia and North Carolina both on one side, you've got most of the military right there. I mean, you've got the bases. It's like, okay, this is the thing that kills me about the whole argument. But this segment of the show, this piece, this spot is actually about the fact that it turned into an argument about who had what. But it started out with one woman saying, basically was communicating that she's worried. Right? But because she was a Trump supporter, the left turned it into a threat from the right of a civil war. Now, however, we can go on to the other part of the story because this is a fascinating part of the story. But bases, the military, and more importantly, military assets and bases will be Fort Sumter 2020 whatever, or 2022, 2025, whenever it happened. I mean, it's just this futuristic version of what happened at Fort Sumter. If you remember, it changed hands more than once.
Yeah.
So, read the story. That'll give you an idea of what happens in a civil war. They split, they go their separate ways. It won't matter where you're living. You'll just go live somewhere else or go fight somewhere else or whatever. I have an ancestor
Well, you know, and I got on my soapbox last hour, but, you know, I'm gonna.
Did you? I missed that part.
You missed that where you checked out when I went on my soapbox?
Yeah, I was prepping for our show, dude.
Okay, yeah. So I'll say it again. Violence for the left is like a dial. For the right, it's a hard switch. Which once you throw that switch, you don't put the genie back in the bottle. You don't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I won't go on the whole scree I went in with that. But all of the people who on social media who you see going, oh, we've got the military, go ahead and bring it on, blah, blah, blah. You look at where they live, like Los Angeles, for example. Los Angeles is fed by essentially 3 freeways, 2 aqueducts, and gets all of its power run along the 15 highway. You could cripple Los Angeles in minutes, and you would have 20 million people just going Lord of the Flies. So, right. I know that's not, you know, but these are the people that you see saying, "Bring it on." You know, it's they don't know where their food comes from. They don't know where their water comes from. They don't know where their power comes from. They just think, "Oh, I'm in the city, you know, I've got everything I need on the store shelf." Your store shelf is depleted. We ran out of toilet paper over a lung ailment. Right. You think that you think people aren't going to hoard everything? You're getting back into toothpaste. You're going to have people, you know, just grabbing all the toothpaste they can for no good reason other than just, I need resources. I'll barter it. I don't care. You know, I'll trade toothpaste for a sip out of a toilet tank. I don't care.
I think what's going on is all they ever learned about the last Civil War was that the industrial centers were in the cities in the north. So they're thinking, well, we'll just do that all over again. It's a different world. Transportation is not based in the cities. Warehousing is not in the cities. Manufacturing, to a large degree, or to enough of a degree, is not in the cities.
Yeah.
And then the states don't break up like they used to anyway, where the South is completely rural and the North is where almost all of the urban areas are. So none of that even really
tracks.
No, it doesn't. It's not the same. The everything that they're basing their opinion on has changed, and what's remained the same isn't really, like, they don't even.
Well, and the thing is California is the 5th largest economy in the world and the breadbasket of the United States, and of course we'll get all of our food from California because it's a blue state. Well, 1, you've got to ship it through the red states, and 2, all of the counties where all the food comes from are red counties.
Well, yeah, so, they do need fuel, and it's not I've never seen an oil well in a city.
Right. Well, in LA, because you drive down in the city. I mean, there's oil derricks in Burbank.
Okay, well, good. Maybe they can keep it going with just those.
They don't know how to refine it.
Right, exactly. And then, and they also don't think about the fact that, and this happened during the last Civil War, but it would be, I think, far greater now than it was then, is that people that don't want to live under your tyranny will leave. And you may not have as many people as you think you have. You may not end up with as many people as you do now.
Well, and and a lot of this here, this is getting back into how this is different disinformation. Is that you mentioned that MSNBC let Malcolm Nance go on a rant based off the opinions of one woman who just said that she's afraid that it feels like a civil war.
And then Raw Story did a story on her comment and his rant together and played the whole thing and dropped it on social media for the Twitter fodder that it was.
Well, but the thing, what I wanted to say about that too is that in the misinformation, it's like when President Silver said, you're not going to win a war with your AR-15s against nukes and F-15s. It's like, okay, well, your terms are acceptable. I need my nukes and my F-15s. But on the other hand, too, is that you're not going to nuke your food supply. You're not going to vaporize your food in order to make a point. So you're going to have to fight for it. And you're not going to be able to do that with an F-15. You're going to have to do it with boots on the ground. And those boots don't necessarily agree with your politics and your decisions. Ergo, Latin, it's not going to go the way that you think it is. But this is the misinformation and the disinformation on the internet. It's like, oh, we'll be fine. We've got nukes and F-15s. They've just got their AR-15s.
Well, so... yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the PSYOP, right? And I don't... here's the most important thing to me, is that it is absolutely psychological warfare. So, I don't know to what extent it was even coordinated and where it takes on just kind of an organic mind of its own. I don't know the answer to that question. But from the beginning, to take her comment, that interview, and her saying, I just feel it, it was clear what she was saying. It was clear what she was communicating. To turn that into a threat of civil war from a particular political ideology, especially, putting half of the country or a third of the country in the position of feeling threatened and the other in the position of being a threat, right? So one of them feels like everyone thinks they're a threat and the other one feels like they're being threatened. So 2/3 of your population at that point, if you get the word out, is in a somewhat more vulnerable position. That is psychological warfare. If you listen to what Nance brags about having done and what his job is and who he is, he absolutely knew what he was doing. Did he do it on his own behalf? Did he do it on somebody else's behalf? After the fact, was there any coordination in pushing the story? If that's the case, then it was a coordinated psychological warfare effort. It was an attack.
Yeah.
It was an attack.
Yeah, that was pure counterintelligence that you could train in at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. I mean, that was just exactly, he did exactly what he was put on the air to do. And that was to spin an innocuous comment. I mean, to take it another way would be to, if a woman were to be interviewed saying she has concerns about global warming, that would be spun into, or, they would probably do it with a child because that has more impact. Except that Nance used the threat of violence. Again, sure.
He knows exactly the difference between those two things.
Sure. Yes, so, but Nance, you're right. Nance, even though he's a grifter and a fraud, knew exactly what he was doing based off of his training.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He is a grifter and so it's my opinion that he's probably on the grifter side of the spectrum.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, because he makes shit up and goes on MSNBC where he's paid to go on the air. He's a contributor for them. He gets paid. And he goes on and makes shit up. You can make the argument that he's probably a disinfo spook. He absolutely... okay, so, I don't know. I know that he did SIG and intelligence and shit like that in the Navy, right? According to his bio. According to what he says he did. I don't know he did it, but he says he did it.
Right.
So what does he do now? Sure, probably. But I don't know that. I mean, but in his head, yeah, I think in his head he thinks he is.
Yeah. Well, in his head, yeah. So for all the stupid shit he says, he's not dumb. He is definitely he is okay. Ian Millhiser is the dumbest motherfucking blue check on Twitter. He says the most inane, stupid things, but he knows what he's saying because he also has a law degree. So he knows he's lying, but he just does it in such a way that it's like, this is the most easily disprovable agitprop you could ever come across. Nance is more subtle than that because what he says makes it believable and his pedigree makes it believable, but it's still bullshit.
Both of them, either one is horrible. If you know what you're saying is a lie, but you're just playing dumb enough that people think you don't know any better, so that you can get a lie across. I mean, that's low. Using a military pedigree to say things that aren't true, so that people believe you, knowing that a lot of people believe you because of your military service, that's stolen valor.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, he was SIG in the Navy, but yeah, all right.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you can lie to me. That makes it that much worse for you to lie to me and expect me to believe you because you're fucking service.
Sure.
Makes it that much worse. So you're not just a liar, you're like the worst kind of liar. Which is worse than just being a liar.
Right.
I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
So we're going to move off of disinfo into just pure straight up espionage.
Well, the point I was trying to make but the point I was trying to make before is
put a bow on him.
It is espionage.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No,
now
you're not wrong.
Now you can move on to the espionage.
Okay, well, this is just straight up Cold War shit.
It is. It's good Cold War espionage.
A Navy nuclear engineer and his wife were arrested under espionage-related charges for trying to give nuclear ship information.
Yeah, it's a new class of ship. I forgot that it starts with A.
It's the Aegis. Yeah, it's they got busted trying to sell secrets of naval nuclear propulsion program. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is. So it's one of those ships. One of the techs that we had that wasn't known. There's some top secret technology on the ships, and they were selling the plans to. My favorite part of the story, right, was I guess it was when they were first reaching out trying to find a buyer. They mailed a package to an embassy, and like the documents or the indictment that won't even say what embassy it is. They cooperate.
Yeah, it's called Country One.
Yeah, okay, so Country One. So they mailed a package to Country One with a note in it that says, basically, sorry I don't speak your language, accept my apologies for the bad translation, and you might find this helpful. And I mean, it's just the weirdest thing. I'm just gonna blind kind of cold call this embassy with a package of stolen top secret documents from the U.S. government, the world's most powerful country. I'm going to send it, and it was an ally apparently, or somebody who was enough of an ally that they turned around and sent it to our intelligence agency. So, I mean,
yeah, they gave it to their country's FBI attaché, who informed the FBI and said, "Hey, one of your nuke engineers is trying to sell us some shit." So, and then it started. It became like, from what I read in the indictment in the story, this became like The Americans, the TV show The Americans that was on FX for a while, except the spies were retarded.
Well, yeah, they were definitely dumb criminals. So they're, they were the espionage version of somebody you would see on a dumb criminal show.
Yeah,
right?
It was like Raising Arizona, and some.
You know what? I think that's
I'll give
perfect.
them credit because they kind of did all the right things. It's like, look, I want you to pay me in Monero, which is a cryptocurrency, which is hard to trace.
Some of it was smart. Some of it was dumb.
Yeah, and we're going to do a dead drop. I don't trust your location for the dead drop when the FBI was setting up the sting for the, but we're going to do it like this in an area that I know.
Well, and one thing that he did with Country One was he went to D.C. and he said, to make sure, to confirm that I'm talking to you, fly, this flag outside your embassy. Or over your embassy. Right. I'm standing, and he was standing outside. So it was like a physical confirmation without him even going inside. So that was like a really smart kind of super spook thing to do. But some of the stuff that he did was really like just cold calling an allied embassy. And so it's really weird. And then, so of course, the next thing that happens is he hears from a very friendly foreign intelligence agency that wants to pay him for cough, top secret information. Yeah, I mean, of course, the next person that contacts him or whoever he hooked up with ended up being the FBI. Duh. So, that's what happens.
I mean, I found this kind of intriguing. The way that they did the dead drop too. It's like, I mean, you watch spy shows and you always see some kind of, some pretty creative way that they can, they transfer the information from one to the other. And this was actually an SD card that was jammed into a half-eaten peanut butter sandwich and dropped into the trash. So, I mean, you got to kind of. You got to give props for that one.
I almost feel like I've seen that on like a Mission Impossible or something.
Probably, but still.
Yeah. No, I mean that's good old spy TV stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen it somewhere, but maybe not. But yeah, so this is a good kind of old school spy story. I mean, it's almost.
Yeah, it's almost there's almost next to no cyber in it, other than it being cryptocurrency related, put on an SD card, but this is just your basic. It
was some high tech secrets, but
definitely high tech secrets. But I mean, as far as like for what we do on this show, it barely qualifies, other than the fact that like I said, it paid in cryptocurrency and SD cards and tech and using proton mail and special and GNU-PG, which is a symmetric encryption program that randomly generates anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cool story. I'm looking forward to hearing more of it. And but yeah, so ultimately they got picked up by the FBI and NCIS. So, your two most popular shows on CBS.
Right. Yeah, but that was a great story. So last week we talked about the Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever. There were a couple of more services that got Instagram and is it Oculus?
Yeah, Oculus Rift. That's the virtual reality system they purchased.
Yeah, and I think they all went down at some point. But so after the show, a couple days later, I think it was, Facebook is saying, or may have been actually while we were doing it, they started to say that it was an internal error, right? So we talked about how that could happen, or I pondered and kind of wondered and queried myself about how that might happen. And I mean, it's totally understandable, and a lot of people speculated that might have been what it was, but there were a lot of strange things found, things that were missing and things that didn't quite add up, like some of the Whois records that were missing. It seems like they should have. I mean, it doesn't seem like they just go away or disappear. Or that they don't live in the same place. So it's just kind of weird. Some of it that happened. So there's a lot of speculation that wasn't actually a hack, but it was an internal thing that happened.
Yeah, it seems more like a goof, and mistakes happen. I mean, something like this size shouldn't.
Yeah. It could have been an insider threat, right? So they had the whistleblower going before Congress that morning. Yeah, just before it happened. And I mean, anything could happen. It's a big company. There's a lot of people there. It could have been anything. So I don't know if we'll find out in the future if it was an insider threat, if we'll ever find out. But I thought that was really interesting. And the Twitch hack that we're going to talk about with Jeff a little bit more next week, because he's a user. So we're going to have him on to talk about it a little more in depth. But I'm really kind of suspicious about whether that's actually a hack too, because they have had a lot of controversy with some of their users and streamers and content creators and things like that on Twitch, and there was a lot of friction between the two, and then this happened. Some of the data that leaked, like how much people are paid, kind of feeds into that whole drama.
Yes.
So I have some insider threat suspicions about that too, right?
Yeah, that. And so some of the people whose names were released, like Senkenger's nephew, I believe, is one of them, and yeah, it's some of your basic Twitch tots too, and yeah. So I have a lot of questions, and next week when Jeff joins us, we will ask him for the answers.
Yes, I hope he has them all by then. But yeah. So it's not that I think that they definitely weren't hacks or whatever. I think it's just important to not jump to the hack conclusion just because it seems like a hack. It could have been an insider threat, which is just not the same thing at all.
See, and that kind of goes with this next story we were going to talk about too, is that in this case where it looks like it might be espionage, it turns out that it could be a hack too, or an internal threat. And that is the one that we were talking about, a report by Amnesty International that links an Indian cybersecurity company to Android spyware used to target activists.
Yeah, that's an interesting story, because there has been so much in the news about Pegasus and that being used by the Israeli company to monitor so many people by different countries, and India was one of the countries that participated in that as well. Yeah, which they said they had a warrant for. They said they had a warrant for that. I didn't see where they claimed they had a warrant for this though.
No, this one, it starts out where they're trying to, they're phishing activists, saying, hey, download this chat app because, it's really secure, and, it's kind of like, it's Fed shit. Use this Trojan horse that we're, well, look at this horse we're providing you. It's really nice. No, there's nothing in it at all whatsoever. And the chat client is actually a keystroke logger and everything like that. So they're like, no, get fucked. We don't want to download that. So then they're getting text messages, anonymous text messages for, hey, get this program. And if they still say no, then they get sent a Word document, which will install it on there. And it's called Chat Lite. But it's a keystroke logger, takes screenshots regularly of your screen, steals files from local removable storage, and then adds more. And so they're like, okay, well, this is coming from the internal servers of a Indian cybersecurity firm, so maybe they're, this is actual spyware used to target activists. Well, it turns out this is also in a tool set of an Indian APT criminal organization, APTC 35, called the Do Not Team. And they've been targeting governments and activists in Southeast Asia for 4 years now. So, a lot of moving parts in this story.
Yeah, it is. So there's a cybersecurity company with the software on their servers, but the software is also used by an APT. But Amnesty International tied the activist's phone to the command and control servers at the cybersecurity company, if I understand it correctly, right?
Right, yeah, and this is targeting, they're not targeting Indian activists, and that's the interesting thing about this is that they're targeting activists in Togo, it's the African country of Togo. So it's wondering if this isn't spyware as a service. Is Togo hiring foreign hackers to go after activists in their country?
And that's what happened with the Pegasus software and the company in Israel. I don't remember the name of. They were hired by countries all over to target activists and journalists and politicians and regular people, just whoever.
Mm-hmm.
But this is more. So this is an app, and it's more spyware for the everyman, right?
Yeah.
Not like Pegasus was being used by security contractors.
Yeah, no, this is a toolkit that's out in the wild, but it's favored by that APT, and
yeah. Yeah, so there was one other thing.
But if this is the Do Not team, then it's the first time they've targeted African countries. Like I said, usually they operate in Western Asia, Southern Asia.
So, area. and I question that too, because an APT has something to gain. I'm not saying that there's not anything to gain in Togo, but
if they're freelancing,
right? Yeah.
Because the Togo government has been under one family's rule since 1963. So while they have opposition candidates, they're constantly arrested, and so anyway, it's been that the Freedom House gives them a partially free rating of the country of Togo. So are they stepping up their game and hiring foreign APTs? Probably.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. The other, but that APT, that's an Indian APT. So it's our Indian
Correct.
hackers. Yeah. So, it really isn't unusual. In my opinion, it's not unusual for anyone to hire an Indian hacker.
No.
Or Indian tech talent of any kind. Right. Yeah. So, I just don't think, especially African. So I think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a good possibility, and
it's interesting that they're using a cybersecurity firm's servers as a command and control, which means that the cybersecurity firm, it's either got somebody working in it who is giving their servers up as a CNC, or the cybersecurity firm has been hacked and they're being used as a CNC by the APT-35 by the APT without knowing about it.
Yeah, you could probably kind of develop an opinion on it pretty quickly by researching the company, right?
Sure.
'Cause you could do that with the other one. So, as to whether or not you probably believe that it's true that they could have done that. So, and it definitely happens. This isn't the first time that it's been exposed. So, it could be. It could be either one, though. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, no, both are equally likely, and since it's just kind of, I just think it's funny that if it were a cybersecurity firm that has been hacked and their servers are being used as CNC, what does that do to your company?
I don't know. We how many times this year, in the past year, we've seen a cybersecurity product used as an attack vector. As a
delivery system. But in this case, it's like we're going to be talking about FireEye and McAfee. This would be like FireEye having their servers used as a CNC server for a ransomware gang, and then all of a sudden be like, oopsie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Something like that, you could take it down and hope nobody noticed. Right. So
the calls are coming from inside the house.
Yeah, not as bad as solar winds.
Right. Jesus Christ. At least that story finally went away. I got tired of talking about that one. That one became Zoom to me.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna extradite those Russian hackers, though.
Oh yeah, because that happens so goddamn always.
I know, right? Okay, so I think we should probably take a break.
Okay.
All right, let's hear something fun, and we'll be right back.
I'm an A-town player, turn uptown pimp. You see this whip? Eddie Murphy red leather, pants on hammer, I'm too legit. Ooh, my hair's so gorgeous, make them girls so sick. I wait in line, bitches, even Beyonce want this shit. I'm too hot, hot damn. I like myself on Instagram, I'm too hot damn. I'm Jerome and Rome with a Gina and Pam, I'm too hot damn. Covered in gold, you know who I am, I'm too hot damn. Thank Def Jam for that money. Got a brand new cape, hallelujah. Got a brand new cane, hallelujah. Got a brand new chain, hallelujah. You better know T. James gon' get it to you. You know Uptown Funk gon' get it to you.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Don't believe me, just watch. James.
Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Stop. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the stretch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we gon' show out. Smoother than a fresh drop skipping.
Hot damn. We're back.
Hot damn.
Hot damn. We are back.
We are.
We are. We both are, actually. we wanted to celebrate, or I wanted to celebrate. I don't know. Gordy probably gets mad or gets tired of me making fun of it. He doesn't get mad though because we're chill. Right. But yeah, I want to celebrate no Microsoft stories this week. No Microsoft.
And technically true. Okay, no Microsoft fuck ups this week.
But no Microsoft bugs this week.
Right. We do have a story, but we're saving it for next week with Jeff too, because we're good like that. And this is actually in his wheelhouse too. So
yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. It's a Linux thing.
Yeah, it's a Linux and Microsoft thing.
Yeah,
it's a Minix.
Oh, stop! Don't even. Do not do that.
Yeah, from everything I hear though, I picked up when I was out in the storage shed. I grabbed one of my old computers that I think will run it. So Al's been talking about Mint Linux, and so that's kind of like Winix too. So
yeah, Mint
what I
understand,
Mint is just basically Win Linux. So it's
yeah. And that's you, but you can call Mint Win Linux. It's not the same thing as calling Linux Minix.
Minix, okay.
But
hey, while we're talking about, one of my favorite things is when Apple actually does screw up because it happens so rarely. They had to do a hot fix this week.
Did have to do a hot fix this week, and it happens. I mean, it's not that rare. And as a matter of fact, I'll just say, and not in anybody's defense, and really not criticizing anybody, but I think it was like 2003 to 2007 or 8, or maybe even longer than that. Mac desktops and OS 10. Yeah, it's probably 3 to 5. OS 10 Mac desktops were awful. They've had problems other years, but those 2 years were bad. So, they have their years. Anywho, they had a hot fix this week.
We kind of mentioned it in Discord briefly. The best thing that happened to Microsoft was Bill Gates leaving. The worst thing to happen to Apple was Steve Jobs dying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's kind of like, so now they're almost, I know you're big into the Apple environment, but to me, since Jobs died, they're not innovating. They're just the Nike swoosh of computers. And they're not even using the best gear anymore.
Yeah, I don't like Cook, and I don't think that, Jobs is, meh. But Woz is a different story. But, yeah, I mean, but the innovation, especially with the two of them, or between the two of them, so, yeah, I don't think the innovation is still there.
No.
I mean, it's not right. Definitely not right now.
But with this Apple story is there's a security update that you really need to patch, is that you really need to install if you use Apple. It's a memory corruption issue that allows applications to execute arbitrary code with kernel privileges. So it's very easy to slip malicious software into an Apple product.
Yeah, so the thing, and we've talked about this on the show before, one of the things of the Apple security is sandboxing, and how, the operating system, machine level is, there's separations between that and the file system, and application file system, and the boot system, and so they're sandboxed from each other. They don't have to touch each other. If they don't have to touch each other, they don't. So there's that just broke when that happened, right? Because I mean, if you have access at the boot level up, there was nothing that wasn't accessible.
Yeah, because when you're in boot, that's when everything's doing post and everything else too. Mm-hmm. That's when malicious software can be loaded up quite easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's stay with phones and do that Google store story you dropped.
You're right. Reminding me that I dropped it. So I would take it, right? I know. I see how it works. Okay, so
you do it to me all
this is another
the time.
This is another stalkerware story, right? So this is and I think I probably got these two stories mixed up a little bit because I prepped mine, not yours. But anyway, so so Google has pulled some apps out of the store again, right? So this is like another story it feels like we do every week. It's the Google Play Store stories.
Yeah.
So they pulled another set of ads. I mean, yeah, this is stalkerware ads, but it didn't say that they pulled... Oh, no, this is Google search.
It's not the apps that were the problem. You know, the apps are fine. I mean, generally these apps are the apps are fine. It's the apps are used for, they're designed for like parents to keep tabs on their children, to track their children, you know, and their children's use on smartphones. I'm not opposed to those. But the ads, the advertisements themselves, these were created to get people to use the software to spy on their spouses and significant others.
So they were advertising them that way. So basically, well, I mean, but that's the same thing.
But
so
okay, so the thing is like, so it's taking it past the child protection thing, you know, it's kind of cynical to say we've made all the money we're going to make off the parents spying on their kids, so now let's get the parents spying on their spouses. You know, that's how I was reading it. It's kind of, okay, well, that's cynical as fuck.
Well, I mean, it is cynical, but it's also, I mean, it's marketing. That's the way, it's like, who's the new market, right? So we've saturated this one. Where are we going with it?
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, the apps would always do that. Whether or not you advertise it to people that way, people can use them that way. And probably have, or, you know, maybe, and probably have. I'm sure they have.
But this elevates the program. I mean, yes, it could be used that way, but this elevates the program from cyber care to stalkerware. And there's actually a coalition against stalkerware that, you know, it's like, hey, this is bad. So, and I agree. And it's generally an industry-wide response that is like, you know, we don't do this, guys. You know, that's no.
Yeah, I know, and I agree. But if you create the tool and people can use it that way, then it's completely on the user.
Sure. And that's fine if you just make the tool for, you know, this is what we're using. You know, it's, you know, you can make that argument with nuclear weapons. You know, it's like nuclear power is a wonderful thing. Nuclear weapons aren't. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, it really feels like an ethical quandary to me.
Yeah, but and this is into that. Okay, you know, and that's in, you know, in most instances where you're going to put it on the user. You know, that's where the user took something that was designed to protect children and used it nefariously. That's a user problem. In this case, it's an advertiser's problem. And that's where the industry is going, no.
So if you advertise guns for murder.
Right. If you advertise guns for home defense or hunting or sporting, that's fine. You advertise guns for, you know, take care of the problem in your life. Then you got a problem.
Yeah.
So.
And so then using it to stalk someone becomes a misuse of the tool.
Correct.
It is. So it is ethical and legal quandaries all over the place with this, to me.
Yes.
And it may just be me, but I mean, I just see like pitfalls everywhere.
Yes. I mean, again, it's one of those things that I understand the need for the tool. I understand. But this is, again, why are you trusting it to an app with something that should be native to the, you know, it's like.
Yeah, it should be native to the OS.
It's like on computers now where it's like, okay, so you can monitor your kids. It used to be Net Nanny, But now that's like, it's inherently built into Windows. So that way you're not outsourcing your family security to somebody else. Like in this case where they're talking about CleveGuard, which is one of the larger apps for...
Right. It's to yet another person. Because Microsoft can already see everything that you do. So let them keep an eye on the kids because they can see it anyway. Or whoever it is, right? So I get your point. It's not yet another service that you're giving access to all your information. To your internet traffic.
Right.
So, I get your point there for sure. But I just think it's all kind of quandaries, especially legal, like ethical to some point, but especially legal. So who's liable? It's a misuse of the tool, but if you continue to give people tools that do it, and the tools are legal, at what point do they have an argument that... At what point do they have an argument in their defense that they continue to provide these tools? I don't know.
Yeah, but then you're making the gun, suing the gun manufacturer argument there too.
Yeah, I get that. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. And this is one of those things that, where it hurts to have a libertarian brain because you agree with both sides of the argument.
Yes, it does.
So...
Yeah, and which that means you have a brain that you actually use to think through individual problems, right?
Yeah, basically it just comes down to what's your gut tell you on that one. So
yeah, kinda. Yeah, I guess so, kinda. I don't have kids, so I can't say whether or not I would put stalkerware on their phone.
Right. I mean, but also we're from the generation that it's like come home when it's dark and call if you're not.
Yes, absolutely. And here's a house key.
Right. So, we were given a lot of personal freedom in our age bracket. So, and we knew where the line was. So that
we were afraid to cross it.
Yeah. But,
that was the difference. We were afraid to cross it. And I'm just going to say this because it keeps coming up. This is like the third time in 2 days. It's going to say this. The difference between us and kids today is we were afraid of our parents because our parents weren't afraid of DFS.
Right. Because there wasn't one. Really?
Well, there was one in my town.
You really had to fuck up for DFS to show up at your door.
I knew people that worked for the one in my hometown. People's parents worked for the one in my hometown. But yeah, I mean, they didn't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
They weren't scared of them. Right?
Right.
Or the school board.
Yeah, and that's
or the school, or the Department of Education Secret Police and Intelligence Unit, or whatever they are. That's insane, and we didn't talk about that. We've got to talk about that before we go.
Which one's that?
The feds investigating parents for going to school board meetings.
Oh, Jesus.
What the hell?
Yeah, once again, we talked about that last hour too, but I think we can kind of, we'll go into it on this one.
Yeah, let's just talk about the Fed aspect of it.
But I mean, the argument is, it's like, oh my God, all these redneck, Bubba motherfuckers are, they're harassing school board members, and and here's this picture that just shows how bad it is from Loudoun County, Virginia, of a parent having to be carried out by police with a bloody lip from a school board meeting. And, here's the poster child for it. And this is, way out of control. And parents are domestic terrorists now. And, the story behind that, though, is because his daughter was raped by a, air quote, gender fluid student who went into the bathroom with her. And so he went to the school board meeting. And, so... Again, that's the and Loudoun County is like, oh, we didn't even hear about it. No, that's a lie because you heard about it weeks before. So But that's where the feds are now involved in. These educators are concerned for their lives, and the right wing has just got everybody whipped into a frenzy. No, parents are fed up.
Well, again, that's another instance of them taking a benign incident and turning it into a threat of violence and it's not, and the reason that I keep stressing that is because it's a whole nother level of perception that it creates in the audience, right? So it's not that you perceive that your country is not going to be the same in 2 years. It's that you perceive that someone actually wants to kill you, that someone wants you dead, or that a group of people want you and everyone like you dead, which is the worst thing, right? Like you're in danger of genocide or whatever. So it creates that fear of death in the audience. Now, 80% of the audience is like way too stable and connected to their life to go there in their mind, right? To that fear place it's intended to take you to. But 10-20% of the population might not be quite so lucky and might be really afraid, and that might make the situation that much more dangerous than it already is, and quite frankly, it's already dangerous enough.
Yeah, and this also falls under misinformation, disinformation too, where they want to create the divide between school boards and parents because they don't think that parents should be responsible for what their kids are learning in school, and if you don't like it, take your kids out and homeschool them. Well,
yeah, it absolutely is.
So shut up and do what we tell you, and
everybody involved in it knew that was exactly what it was. So from the initial letter, so imagine being on a school board and elected by a group of people. Some of them come to your meeting that's public, and that's what it's intended for. And things get a little bit heated, and you report them to the FBI. Imagine being that person. And use the word terrorist.
Yeah.
Talking about the people in your community who came to a public meeting and voiced their opinion. Who even does that?
And that goes back to, I talked about it, when we did the voting back in 2020, where there were concerns of, oh my God, what if Trump supporters come and shoot up the place? It's like, honey, these are your neighbors, okay? You know them. You go, your kids go to school together. Do you really think that person is going to come and shoot up your school?
Right.
Then not so much. Now they are definitely trying to pump out another Steve Scalise event.
Exactly, but. So, the people on the school board that wrote the letter, used the language, knew very well that's not what they were dealing with. The Attorney General knew very well, the President of the United States knows very well, that is not what's going on here. Those three entities are guilty here. They knew exactly what they were doing. Now, and again, I stress it, and I'm probably stressing it too much, but it's happened 3 times this past week. 3 times in a week. When they do that to people, again, our listeners are probably not those people. But they're doing this to all of us. And a percentage of us are actually being manipulated by it in one way or another. And I don't know what the percentage is. It might be higher than 20. It might be lower. I don't know. But some percentage of us are being manipulated. And the result is fear. And that's probably the sickest thing of all. Because fear is one of the worst feelings that there are.
Well, and that's, they're talking about in chat right now, and here, a perfect example of that is the school shooting last week on Friday,
yeah,
where it just, it's like the media couldn't use it in any way to drive fear, so it completely disappeared.
Right.
They want it to be the disaffected, disenfranchised white kid who was bullied into shooting up the school. Turns out that it was a bullying incident, but it was a black kid, and he was being bullied because he had a nice car and from an affluent family. So it's just, so it's that whole, okay, so you have a privileged black kid who shot up his bullies. We don't have an angle on this. So it disappeared.
Yeah. But in the gap, before they figured it out, there were any number of Twitter accounts, at least, that jumped on the, white men are dangerous thing. It was a white killer. It was a Trump supporter. There were plenty of those out there.
Yeah, it was a moral panic for 18 seconds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and some of them, this is the sad part, though. Some of them probably really meant it. Some of them were probably real, and some of them were probably actually really scared. And they're afraid, like some of us are afraid when they start talking about forcing us to get a vaccine. Not that I'm really afraid by that, because they won't stick a needle in my arm, but you know what I mean, right? So, it bothers, if you can't tell, it bothers the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really bothers me, y'all.
And it's not often you get on your soapbox, but I fully encourage you when you do.
It's not, because I feel like I do it a lot.
No, you really don't.
Not compared to Sam. See, that's
not compared to Sam.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's my bonus.
So you know what else is really bothering people?
What?
Ransomware gangs are not getting their. They feel like they're not getting their money's worth.
Really? Are they robbing each other? Like, are they?
They're robbing each other. They're not getting. They think that they're paying too high of fees for their RAS. They're extorting Bitcoin payments, and they're not getting the full. What they're promised, and so it's not just victims now, but
ransomware gangs can't catch a break. Ransomware gangs can't catch a break these days, I guess.
They really can't, no. And when you're using RAS, ransomware as a service, then
RAS.
And here's the thing: is that we joke about how millennials and Zoomers, they keep reinventing what's old. It's like a few years ago they reinvented the bus and the apartment and roommates, and it just basically is people were moving into apartments with each other because of the economy. Yeah, that's called roommates. Welcome to that concept. Multiple people riding in large vans together. Yeah, that's called a bus. That kind of thing. So here's the new thing that Zoomers and millennials are figuring out. There's no honor among thieves.
Oh, they're just now figuring that out.
Apparently.
Wow. That's awesome. So the difference, I think I know why, right? So, and it's the same reason so this is one of the million draft tweets that I never tweeted, right? 80% of my tweets I never hit send on.
That's different. I just spray and pray.
Really? I'm like, no, I don't care. No, really, I don't care. So never mind. But yes, I did almost tweet this the other day, that it's the same reason that they hate boomers. And I'm not really sure how they feel about us. I think that we don't care enough to know or for them to even maybe have an opinion, but they really hate boomers for some reason. And I think the reason that we don't and the reason that they do is that we recognize, that they created punk rock, right? We benefited from it. We propelled it to stardom, but they created it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that we appreciate that about them. We respect them for that. And they're not smart enough to realize it. That's what I think.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So with talking about old things being new again, I saw this came across my Discord, I believe. It's part of it. It was a meme, but still, it was. I researched it. It was a legitimate story. Revolutionary new ship using wind power.
Huh?
So basically, it's utilizing the wind to spin turbines to electric power.
Why
the motor.
don't they just get a sail?
Thank you.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever.
So you invented a ship that runs off the wind, huh? Fascinating.
What's today? What is today?
Yeah, I saw it. I'm just like, okay, so instead of 4 giant smokestacks, you got 4 giant wind turbines on it, and you know what would look really good on that instead? Sails.
Yeah, they definitely are prettier than turbines.
Yeah, but this revolutionary new ship runs on wind power. Really?
That is revolutionary.
That is, yes. Thank you. Thank you, 850 ADs.
Call Jack Sparrow. He must know of this.
You know what also goes really good on those wind-powered ships? Rum.
I was going to say that. Sing a shanty.
Jeez, yeah, right.
Yeah. Rum. For sure. Yeah.
We got one more story.
We do? How is that possible? Which one is it?
That's the FireEye and McAfee merger.
Oh, okay. So when Mandiant and FireEye merged, I made a comment, right? Like, this was in the beginning. Didn't we catch them? Didn't we catch their merger? And I made some smart-ass comment.
Okay, kind of. Because back in March, McAfee sold its enterprise security business to STG, which is the Symphony Technology Group, which is kind of
McAfee wanted
FireEye, but not really. It's kind of like the it's the parent company of FireEye. Yeah. So, but now they're merging both of them into the same services. And I had to laugh. The reason why I really wanted to do the story is that this is from ZDNet, and they got a big fucking error in it. McAfee has a customer base of 40,000 people.
Oh, 40 million.
Right. Yeah, they forgot 3 zeros.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so 40,000 customers with $2 billion in revenue. That is the most expensive antivirus ever.
Yeah, it better be some serious shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're merging. I don't know how I feel about that because I've never been a huge McAfee antivirus fan.
Yeah, we've talked about how bloaty it is and stuff like that. McAfee is trying to get into threat profiling and the APT business, right? So that they're trying to raise their credibility in that area, right? Because FireEye is kind of
FireEye is the resource that we draw to for it's the naming conventions that we prefer when it comes to APTs, and they're end of the year
their numbers,
threat assessments, and they're good.
They came up with the numbing system, right? So
and they actually make sense, and
they have a history. Yeah, they have a history. They have a credible history with APT profiling, research, location. They've doxed. It wasn't 41, it's a North Korean APT. I can't remember the numbers.
Their attributions are pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. They do a pretty good job, but they also have, in that particular area, have a lot of really great government relationships and investigations and things like that. I can see definitely what McAfee is gaining and what they're wanting to gain in the security field with this, right? It takes them to that. It really kind of puts them in a position that nobody else is in. Really, because Kaspersky in Russia, is in the position probably that McAfee will be in after this merger. That's my perception of it. Money wise, stock wise, all that, maybe not now, but as far as their footprint of services and people and capabilities, talent, yeah, probably puts them in the same position.
It's funny, the end of it too is the end of this article. They were talking about, what's the product going to be named when you're combining McAfee Enterprise and FireEye names, and which is it going to be? And they said, well, we don't have rights to the McAfee Enterprise name after 2021, so we'll just figure something out next year. So it's whatever.
Maybe they'll call it McFire.
Yeah, that's fine.
McFire.
Yeah, McFire.
McFire. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mackay.
I think it's interesting. I think it puts them on a level with totally different.
Well, I mean, you don't
people.
see, at least, okay, in my trade, the level I work at it, McAfee is the shit you get for free before you decide what you want in an antivirus. It's like it comes with your Dell, it comes with your HP, it comes with your Lenovo, and you'll use it because you get a year free, or in some cases you get a couple of years free while you're sitting there figuring out. It's like we used to say Internet Explorer was the best browser for downloading other browsers. McAfee is, it's just one step above Windows Defender while you're waiting to find out what grown-up antivirus you're going to use.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they're gonna. Okay, I'm back. I lost everything. You guys can hear me, or he can't because I lost him. So I'm calling him back. There he is. I lost everything for a minute there.
The ghost of McAfee is messing with us.
I know, right? Who can blame him? So yeah, but I think they're trying to put themselves in a position with like Kaspersky or something.
Yeah, and that's I can respect that. And it's like totally. I said. I mean, everybody kind of gets rid of McAfee when they're free.
Which is exactly why they needed to. They needed to do some changing and rebrand, and it'll be interesting to see what they do over the next year or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I think that's cool. It'll all be at the enterprise level, but I'm cautiously optimistic for them.
Yeah, I expect to see FireEye or see them continue to do everything that FireEye's always done as far as putting out research, and maybe even more so. So that would be cool. That would be really cool. All right, well, where are you going to be this week?
On Wednesday night, I'll be doing Robinson and Horty with Rick. On Thursday night, we're doing part 2 of our Demon Possession juxtaposition. You can find me on Twitter as That Amish One, and you can find me every Monday night with Polita Bunny, and then immediately after it, find me with you. Where are you going to be this week? What do you got going on?
Well, I will be producing for Aggie and Martini Shart, Brad Slager, tomorrow night at 8:30. And then Friday should be on the air at 8:30 with our friends Mickey and Aggie and special guest Auntie Vodka, who hasn't been on the air in a while, but we're going to do a special cocktail show.
Nice.
Friday.
I miss AV.
Yeah, right? Well, she'll be on Friday. You can listen.
Okay. I will.
And, so that's Friday at 8:30. Listen out for that, but that's the plan.
Nice.
Yep, and then back here with you next week at 10.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We love you in chat. Unlike the previous show, we love chat.
I love chat in both shows.
Well, right, exactly. You have, but we do. We love chat, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being in chat, keeping everybody entertained when we get boring. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
No matter where you go, there you are.
There you are.
Knocks me on my knees. It didn't